after the season.
Before the season began, league officials decided to make some changes. They split the league into 2 divisions, and with that, the qualification requirements for postseason play changed to the top 3 teams from each division. Now, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but one scenario was overlooked. They hadn't expected one division to be so strong and the other so weak. It was tragic to see Hawaii with a 12-4 record in the Harry Wilson division not make the playoffs, while in the Bert DeGroot division, Cal State Northridge with an 8-8 record and UC Santa Barbara with a 6-10 record did make the playoffs.
Well, I knew from the outset, going back a year ago to the original meeting regarding it, that it really would be a problem because we didn't know enough about the effects of the change, the groupings of teams, and all that really was a given was it was going to be a very competitive year.
You know, we played 5 years, all of us played 5 years together, and it hurts a lot, you know, after we were told, hey, you guys are not going, you know, and we did have the same record as those teams. Telling us you're not going was, you know, really sad to take.
It's pretty hard for us. I mean, having 7 seniors on the team, that was our last shot. We look forward to this year. We thought we were going to go all the way, but I don't know, unfortunately it didn't work out the way we planned it.
It almost seemed like at the end of the year it wasn't over because we're so used to flying back to the mainland and playing at least in the regionals. So it was quite a shock for the team.
The trauma of not making the playoffs cannot overshadow the night of April 12th, when the Rainbows, with their backs against the wall, defeated a great UCLA team. The rivalry between these teams and their fierce competition to win made this match something special.
It's definitely a rivalry. I think if there's any team in the country that all the other teams hated, it would have to be UCLA. And considering we lost last year, I think twice in 5, coming in this game, we knew we had to win in 4.
I felt great. I mean, you know, it's like beating UCLA for me is a real high. I really enjoyed it, and you know, we kind of went nuts at the end of the game.
You know, the majority of the team felt confident, and it was a do or die, and you know, it wasn't going to be die. It was going to be do and win, and that's what we went in there to do, to win.
We'll be back with the opening serve from that 4-game match, Hawaii against UCLA, right after this.
Chris, you take a look at these 2 teams. Statistically, they pretty well match up, as you can see.
I asked Alan Rosehill before the game how he thought the match shaped up, and he looked at the league stats, and he agreed. Both teams very, very even. The edge to the block going to the Bruins, the edge on defense in the back row going to Hawaii. So he thinks that this match may come down to serving and passing. We'll see.
Alan said to me, I'm going to outdig them. They're going to outblock me. We need to outserve them. So you're exactly right. He says Lyman LaCroix needs to be more productive setting up the attack than the freshman center, Mike Seeley, who will be setting the ball up for UCLA.
Changing their starting lineup, though. Al Skates right there. Greg Giovinazzi, his able assistant of many years, have gone with a local setter with a local name, Albert Hanneman. He's actually grew up on the mainland, but he's the son of Miller Hanneman, who's the brother of Nephi Hanneman and Mufi Hanneman, Gus Hanneman.
Also, there's a freshman coming in next year, Nick Hanneman, his brother, who Hawaii is actively recruiting. The first serve of the night, Rich Flann, the freshman from Orchard Park. Maybe a little jitters at the beginning. He puts it out, and it'll be Hawaii's serve. Back to serve for Hawaii, Adam Lockwood. You've heard all the names before. A lot of seniors, a lot of experience for Hawaii. Diving dig by Adam Lockwood, the leader in the country. Damian Hardy off the block. And a mistake in the back row.
Well, the Bozos loved it. They're giving him 10s all over the place. John, I can't tell you how important these first 2 plays were. Bruins serving out right away. Hawaii digging the Bruins on their first attack.
Served by Lockwood, stuffed over the top. Hawaii digs or dives and can't make the play. Ball just pushed over by Albert Hanneman. As we mentioned, Albert Hanneman's got a freshman or a senior at Huntington Beach brother, Nick, and Hawaii is actively recruiting that young man's brother. Of course, his uncle Mufi. I read this in the UCLA guide. The first Samoan to graduate from Harvard. Interesting number. So the Hanneman family well represented, and possibly Hanneman playing for Hawaii next year if Coach Alan Rosehill has his way.
That time we saw Mike Whitcomb bury the ball in transition. The Bows had a little mix-up on their offense. I think both teams will have a little bit of the jitters here in the beginning, but it won't take long for them to get going.
Damian Hardy way up in the air. The captain and emotional leader of this Hawaii team puts it down.
John, the Bruins have a weakness that's right here. Their block is so big and their backcourt is so big, they often can't get those little soft shots that drop in front where you have to dive for them.
These two teams have played twice this season. We'll tell you about that. The first match of the season at UCLA, the Bruins won 3-1, and then later on in the collegiate tournament at UCSB, UCLA won 2-0. That one didn't count on the record, and the first match didn't count toward WIVA plays. So they've kind of toyed with each other already this season, but Alan Rosehill says they didn't see my lineup the way they're going to see it tonight.
That time in a little joust at the net, Lyman LaCroix, Carlos Briseño went up, tapped it back down. As we see Briseño's stats there, they fell under the net. Many fans might think that's a violation. However, the ball had already touched the ground on the other side. Therefore, the play was dead, and then you can fall under the net at that point.
Once the ball's down, you can almost roll around on the other side of the net. Tipped over the top by Trevor Sherman, kept alive. Van Sickle. Outside Papinga off the block. And it comes over to McLaughlin, and he puts it back out there.
Brian Papinga with a big boomer from the outside. That as Brian Papinga goes, so go the Bows. He wants a big match tonight.
These seniors all striving to get back into the playoffs one more time, and UCLA puts it down hard. That's Carl Henkel, the junior from Redondo Beach. Want to make it clear that mathematically, if Hawaii loses tonight, they could still clinch a playoff berth if Stanford lost 2 matches. That, however, is unlikely. One of those matches against San Diego State, Chris. The big match for Stanford comes tomorrow night against USC. A win by Hawaii tonight and a loss by Stanford tomorrow against USC will clinch a playoff berth, and UCLA making some unforced errors. Alan Rosehill told me UCLA has lost an inordinate amount of game 1s this year. Sometimes they take a while to get going. They've lost 8 times in the first game. Remember, their overall record, a very impressive 20-3. Ball hit deep by Lockwood, but kept alive, and it lands out. So Lockwood hits one that would have gone long, but UCLA keeps it alive.
John, I'll tell you what happened here. Lockwood went up and saw 3 guys. He just aimed as high as he could, and what happened there was an out ball, but the digger thought that the block touched the ball, and that's why he took an out ball. Had he let that go, it would have been a side out for the Bruins. But interestingly enough, Lockwood went up and saw 6'6", 6'7", and 6'8". He made a great choice. Hit it high and hope.
And to his credit in the back row, I guess I'd assume the ball was tipped too by one of those 3. Tipped over the net, net violation called against Lockwood up front, side out to UCLA. It is 1-4.
Ralph Smith that time, the referee, called Hawaii's Brian Papinga for blocking over the net. He interfered with the setter, Albert Hanneman.
Served by Whitcomb. Outside Van Sickle. It lands long. It's 2-4.
Oh, my goodness. Lyman LaCroix totally faked out the block. Poor Gary. He tried to keep that ball in. Lyman LaCroix did a beautiful job of faking out the block, though. Gary had a one-on-one. Should have buried it.
LaCroix up front. Papinga puts it down. There are so many keys to watch, Chris, on this UCLA team, but really the big numbers this year have been Trevor Sherman, last year's All-American and Player of the Year, and Mike Whitcomb was hitting .405 this year. That puts him number 10 in the country. Net violation called up front against UCLA. Point to Hawaii. It's 5-2.
UCLA has also had trouble passing the ball this year. Right now they're passing the ball awfully close to the net, making it hard for Albert Hanneman to set the ball. That time he grazed the net with his shoulder.
Van Sickle.
More problem with passing there. Van Sickle serving very well.
Ball is slammed. It goes over the block and out. It is now 6-2 Hawaii. Game number 1. Coach Al Skates, the Wizard of Westwood, calls a timeout. Head mentor Alan Rosehill said we've always come out strong in the big matches except against Stanford. Well, right now Hawaii came out strong enough to force Coach Al Skates to use one of his 2 precious timeouts, and we're not even halfway through game number 1. 6-2. Van Sickle serves. Hanneman sets it in the middle. Off of LaCroix. Lyman going the wrong way on that one. And side out back. That was Rich Bland from Orchard Park, California.
New York, I believe.
Yeah, it is New York.
Mistake in the program there, John.
You know where Orchard Park is, of course, where the Buffalo Bills play.
That's right.
So he might not like the heat in Clum. Oh, yeah, it's hot. About 2,000 people jammed in the Clum tonight, and a warm April night in Clum. Damian Hardy goes outside. Carlos Briseño, there's the diving Bruin defense. Big problem, as Chris mentioned, that UCLA has had this year. They have so many big guys. It's hard to get down on the floor, and that ball ends out Side the pole, outside, tip the pole.
Again, Lyman LaCroix with a beautiful back set to the right side. Brian Papinga had a lot of court to aim at, but unfortunately cut the line a little bit thin and hit the antenna on the way over. Remember, if you hit the antenna on the way over, it's a violation. So the Bruins, that time, get a side out.
As opposed to hitting the line, which counts as being in. If you hit the antenna or the pole, that is out.
Right.
Ankle back to serve. LaCroix, Lockwood from the outside, goes right through the block. Boy, Chris, there's a guy who's just over 6 feet, getting the most out of his intuition and abilities. He puts it through the big block.
Well, look who he's going up against, too. The best blocker in the country, Trevor Sherman, number 20 from Waimanalo, Hawaii. One of my former players, I'm proud to say. And probably the premier player in the country. Lockwood that time got past him.
Well, the stats from Sherman are unbelievable, but toss all stats tonight. A lot of emotion in this one. Here is one of the big reasons why. Hawaii, a lot of seniors, including this young man. They don't want to see their season potentially ending with a loss to the Bruins tonight. Remember, Hawaii's a half game ahead of Stanford. If they end up tied, Stanford would get the playoff berth. Oh, off of Briseño, and Carlos showing some emotion. And it'll go back over to UCLA.
There's a good pass by the Bruins this time. Perfect little back one set right there, and Briseño just could not dig it.
Lockwood, LaCroix, Damian Hardy.
Oh, there he is, Mr. Emotion with a capital E, Damian Hardy from Pearl City High School. Hitting the quick set, going up against a big Bruin block right there. Great set by LaCroix, moved it away from the blocker's hands.
We could string that stuff that he does together, put him up for best documentary, I think. He's a real emotional player out there. Eagle eye look from Rich Bland as he said, come on, guys, let's pick this thing up. Hawaii's still leading 7-3, but back and forth we go with the side outs. Trevor Sherman now in the back row, the 6'6" senior captain. Outside, Briseño off the block. It'll go over to Hawaii.
You know, John, one of the Bruins' biggest, strongest traits year in and year out in Al Skates' many years there in his 13 championship seasons has been the block. He's a great blocking coach. And tonight, Hawaii's having their way.
Good chance for Hawaii, though. Tough set off the head. And a net violation is called against UCLA. That time it's called against Mike Whitcomb. And it's 8-3. Hawaii pulling away.
Well, Whitcomb at 6'8", right there, catches the net right there with his hand on the way down and gives Hawaii the side out. Whitcomb at 6'8" plays opposite Trevor Sherman. He's sort of the unknown middle blocker. Sherman gets all the headlines. Whitcomb only made honorable mention All-American last year.
Yeah, only. National championship team. Remember, these are the defending national champs. You talk about a team owning the 80s. Of course, I called Skates the Wizard of Westwood, a title usually conferred upon John Wooden, but certainly Skates is the master. The guy's got 3 books on volleyball out. Now, you can't come out with a 3rd book unless people have bought the first 2.
Actually, it's the same one revised 3 times, but
there's enough demand.
No, he is a great coach, and he's had an awful lot of great players there. And one of his things he's been able to do so well is assemble a lot of players each year. These guys go against each other every day, and they're the best 1st and 2nd string in the country, bar none.
Outside, Van Sickle through the block. It lands in. Back to Hawaii.
Alan Rosehill and Tony Crabb, the Rainbow Brain Trust, figuring out lineup matchups. Oh my,
inside.
Trevor Sherman.
Inside the line with that one.
Should we call that one the Waimanalo Whopper or what? Let's take a look at this. Right down the line, Trevor Sherman just goes up. Great arm swing. Just buries it. Jumps about 36 inches off the ground. Touches about 11.5.
Ball tipped over by Hawaii. UCLA scrambling. Misplayed, but they'll tip it over. Free ball. Papinga. LaCroix outside. Briseño. Hole, and no one's home.
Again, the tricky gazelle-like Lyman LaCroix fooling the UCLA blockers. They're going up and down like jumping jacks, like kangaroos, like pogo sticks. And LaCroix having his way, really giving his hitters a great chance at hitting the ball one-on-one.
Well, Hawaii, with their smaller size all year long, has always touted they have a complicated offense, and this scheme is working against UCLA. Of course, Chris, if you jump up and you're 6'6", It's a lot harder to come back down and move over and get in position.
Well, John, in UCLA's defense with a big lineup, they're doing what's right for them. Albert Hanneman is setting the proper offense for his team, and LaCroix is setting what he needs to do with a smaller team. The smaller team, you said, quicker, faster sets. The big 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" team that Albert is setting, that's what you do. You set them up high or get them quick in the middle once in a while like that. But basically, the two offensive styles are appropriate for their personnel.
Do you think that we'll be seeing UCLA change their blocking scheme, though, if Hawaii keeps moving the ball around?
They have so many great blockers, I don't think it really makes a difference. Here comes Benny Wang, maybe the best defensive specialist in the entire WIVA league, maybe in the country.
Benny Wang checks into the game. Skates calls him the best digger on the team. At that time, Hawaii gets it back, and it's 8-3, and back to serve is Van Sickle.
John, I'll tell you this, nobody will dig this ball. I don't care if you're the greatest defensive player in the country. Great tandem hit by Adam Lockwood.
The best he could do was dig it out of the crowd as Benny Wang went over for it. Ball set outside. Henkel goes cross court. Great dig. Kept alive by Hardy in front of the Bozos. And pushed over by Briseño. But a free ball now for the Bruins. Outside, Henkel. Actually, that's Whitco or Bland, and he puts it down. So the freshman, and how tough is that to be a freshman stepping in on a national championship team and stepping into the starting lineup?
Well, you remember, he's a redshirt freshman. He's really a sophomore. He trained with the Bruins for a year. And so school-wise, he's a sophomore. And I think that's a wise thing to do, not let these players play as freshmen, but give them a year to get used to school.
Also redshirted last year with a bad back. So between the back injury and the fact the team was obviously rather good last year, Land still walks onto the court this year and starts for the Bruins. Ryan Papinga to serve. 8-3. Hawaii keeping UCLA off the board. Back set in the middle. Briseño comes down, but wide.
Oh, he didn't miss that by much. Very frustrating right there for Carlos Briseño. He had an opening and just missed it.
Well, as you like to say, what, 80, 90 miles an hour? How'd you have to be a linesman calling that?
Not easy. It's not an easy job.
Couple of tricky moves. UCLA guys all over, swatting like flies at the ball. And Adam Lockwood goes up and over Albert Hanneman and puts it down. Boy, a lot of UCLA guys swatting air. And right now, Hawaii is taking advantage of it. Adam Lockwood back to serve at 8-3.
Well, John, I think Hawaii's got to really seize the moment and win game one, because Al Skates is such a good coach that by game number 2, he's going to have this Hawaii offense and personnel figured out, and Lyman LaCroix is not going to be able to have the luxury of having one-on-one for all his hitters. Here's the serve by Lockwood. Pass up to the net. Just a little dump shot by Hanneman. Smart play by the freshman. He's a great player.
Very heady play that time by Hanneman. The ball was possibly going over, and it's not a dump.
By the way, this is like a hometown crowd for him. And he's of Samoan heritage. He's a member of the Hanneman family that lives over here, the entertainers, the politicians, the businessmen. And he's proud to be here, I know. I saw that the brothers that were here earlier. Nephi was here. Gus was here. Mufi's going to show up later on. And I know he's playing extra hard to pretend like this is a hometown game for him.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, his brother, who's a senior in high school this year, one of the reasons he probably wouldn't go to UCLA next year is he's heard he got a brother who's a setter there. To have to sit behind your brother, I mean, Hawaii's going to have 4 or 5 scholarships, and Hawaii loses 2 setters. So maybe the local influence, we may see a Hanneman in the Hawaii lineup in 1991.
That's right.
Briseño goes down the line. He thought it was possibly tipped. They say no, and it's a point to UCLA. And the Bruins creeping back into it now. 5 serving 8. This is, of course, with Trevor Sherman back serving in the back row. LaCroix, short set. Damian Hardy off the block. Back to Hawaii.
Damian Hardy at 6'2", going up against 6'8", Mike Whitcomb. Hawaii continually outmatched, outsized at the net, night in and night out. It's amazing, John, how they keep being successful against these huge, huge volleyball teams.
Ball lands inside, put down first time. Mike Whitcomb's really put one down cleanly, and he is a good one.
He goes up against 2 blockers there, just turns it back across his body, showing why he's such a good percentage hitter. He can see the block very well. Didn't hit into it, hit it around it. Smart play.
Big basketball star in high school, opted to play volleyball at UCLA. That time Briseño puts one back through the block. Ryan Papinga, you see him there on the side, just getting that arm loose, that shoulder. Papinga
had the off-season surgery, and it seems to be healing well, and he's been playing great the last few matches.
Great dig. Lyman LaCroix's in the second row watching right now, because that ball knocked him over, but he made the save. Trevor Sherman, another save by LaCroix.
Oh, too bad we had a net violation that time by the Bows. Two great digs by Lyman LaCroix. I can't tell you how hard it is to dig a ball like that. It's coming at you. It only travels about 15 feet, and it's going about 90 miles an hour. And he comes up with a second one right here. Sherman just blasts one. LaCroix getting down in a bent knee position. Great for the youngsters out there to see that low bent knee position.
Miscommunication on the Hawaii side. It's 6-8. UCLA's coming back.
Hawaii needs to slow down the momentum right now, and bringing out the towel is not a bad way to do it.
Of course, Randy Shaw very smartly out there to make sure there is something needing to be wiped up. You can be penalized for that. You get a warning, and then you can either lose the serve or lose a point if they find out that you are stalling. But in this floor, in this weather, no way. We've seen this too often. Nobody's stalling with this. This is very dangerous to just slip on that kind of sweat.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I'm wet over here right now. We're not even playing the game. Clum Gym is at its sauna best.
Well, you get excited very easily. Hawaii gets it back. 8-6. It's the Clum weight loss program here.
See a pass close to the net, and a one-handed set by LaCroix. He's having a marvelous match so far, John. Both setters playing very well. We're seeing two of maybe the two best teams in the country tonight, right here in Clum Gym.
Well, we expected another freshman, Mike Seeley, to probably be in their setting tonight, but Albert Hanneman in front of some of the local crowd doing a great job so far for the Bruins. Going up against the wily senior LaCroix. Don't forget, there will be the rematch tomorrow night, Hawaii against UCLA. Hawaii would love to come into that one knowing that they had at least finished 12-4 in WIVA play and play their last home regular season match.
In June, after he graduates from UCLA, Trevor Sherman, everybody's player of the year last year, Volleyball Monthly, all the coaches, the players, you name it, they liked him as the player of the year last year. Homegrown right here in Hawaii, and he's quite a player. 6'6", about 220. Football coach Terry Donahue asks him daily in the weight room, "Hey Trevor, you want to come out and play tight end next year?" That guy can play tight end too, Damian Hardy.
He can cheerlead too. I'll tell you, he gets his team going. He is the emotional and the actual captain for Hawaii. Remember, at the end of tonight's match, Chris and I are going to select the GTE Hawaiian Tel Most Valuable Rainbow. UH's General Scholarship Fund will receive a cash award in the name of that player from our friends at Hawaii Intel. Well, Chris, you've seen the best players in the country this year. Should it be Trevor Sherman or maybe Brian Ivey?
I haven't seen Ivey play this year. I have seen him play before, though, but I can't help but believe that it would be a toss-up, probably. You know, the way I've heard the coaches talk about them, they're both great players. And here's a shank by the Bruins. They're having trouble. They're passing right now. Henkel there lost his concentration.
Henkel, two big ones we've seen him do back-to-back. There's a mistake as it's real close to the net, but kept alive by Hanneman. Van Sickle comes over, dives through the bench. Teammates trying to move out of the way. And a good effort applauded by this Clum crowd. It's 6-10.
John, again, the Hawaii defense picking up balls that most teams don't pick up. That's what throws big teams like UCLA off a little bit, is that balls they normally bury all of a sudden are being dug by the Hawaii Rainbows.
Ball lands out off the block. Chris, you bring up an interesting point. Some of these UCLA guys have hit 300-400 balls, and they're not used to seeing people dig them too often. Just mentally, when a guy makes a great dig, you got to stand back and go, wow, how'd he get that one? Hanneman, tough set that time. Back row chance for Hawaii. Lockwood, good pass. LaCroix outside. Briseño off the pole and outside. So Carlos off the antenna. And Alan Rosehill up off the bench. Yelling, exulting his team.
See, Alan's very frustrated there because Carlos went down the line and he really had an open court had he just hit the ball straight cross court, kept the ball in play. And whenever you have a great dig like Hawaii just did, you want to make sure you keep that next hit in. Like that. That's when he hit it into the block, unfortunately. Let's see what he does this time. Into the block again.
Well, I'll tell you something. When Alan Rosehill came off the bench and said something to Briseño, I think UCLA might have picked up that he wasn't going to take a chance on the line. And just like you said, Chris, he tried to go across twice, and they blocked him twice. 7-10. Here's Sherman, who seems to be serving quite a bit for the Bruins in game one. Ball tipped. Ralph Smith calls the tip.
Well, I don't believe the Bruins saying no touch on that. There was an obvious touch, and they're turning around to the referee saying, I didn't touch it. I can't believe that. It was a very obvious touch from all over the gym. And there was no call there by the Bruins. That's one of the things that kind of bothers me in volleyball is that very often players will not, call their touches. And I think I'd like to see more of an honor code instilled in volleyball. They're relying on officials that are human and make errors, and the players know when they touch. I think they ought to call their own.
Well, Chris, I'll tell you something else. If the official is sure that there was a touch and a player says, I'll get to that in a minute. Put over by UCLA, free ball for Hawaii. LaCroix back set, and Briseño. What a set by LaCroix.
As tricky a play as we've seen all year. Look at LaCroix running across court, setting it backwards. That's like the full-on head and shoulders fake, and the Bruins barely had one blocker up that time.
11-7, Barry Maguire in for Damien Hardy, again serving for Hawaii. Through the block that time. Chris, the point I was going to make is if a player does get on a referee about balls that the referee knows were touched, the player's not going to get any sympathy for a close call. If you hold back and wait till you really think you've been given a bad call, you might get some sympathy. And how about some sympathy on that one? That ball right into the face of Rich Bland.
Oh, Gary Van Sickle, Hilo boy makes good. He really let fly with that one. That's as hard a ball as I've seen him hit all year long. He almost took Bland's chest off right there. Uniform almost came off his body. Boy, that was really a rip by Gary Van Sickle. I think the most improved bow that I've seen the last 4 years. He really has come a long way from an average to above average high school player to a very good Division I player.
Most impressive, even in practices, how high he gets up and how much he puts into the game. Side out, though, for the Bruins. Chris, of course, the last thing we should mention, as you say, about the honor code, there's no point in discussing a referee's call once he's made it. It's a subjective call. You can argue a rule, but you can't argue whether it was in or out because it's too late at that point. Ball lands in, ace serve. Maguire and Lockwood let it drop. 8-11, UCLA.
Great float serve by Albert Hanneman that time. He just stepped way back. There he is right there and just punched it like a knuckleball. And I really thought it was going out from here, too. I thought the players made a good call, but it just dropped in.
Ball lands out, hit long, and it's 9-11, and Alan Rosehill calls his first timeout. The Bruins back to within 2, and momentum switching over to the UCLA side. Adam Lockwood setting it up. Outside Van Sickle. That's what you want to do after the timeout. Get the momentum back. Remember, tonight's the last night for our Aloha Ball contest sponsored by V-Ball Hawaii at Ward Warehouse. Tonight, Kevin Rank of Mililani is going to be playing the Aloha Ball contest in Game 1. And if the Rainbows serve for that 15th point, the winner gets a $50 gift certificate. Plus, his name goes into the big grand prize drawing tomorrow night. UCLA, of course, would like to have none of that because they'd like to hang in there. And they'll get a serve back here now, Chris. It's 9-11 still.
Well, that time they set Trevor Sherman out of the back row, something he has not done that much of in his 4 years at UCLA. But his senior year, they're starting to let him have a little more chance at preparing himself, I think, for the national team. And he may join the national team in June. He was invited this last summer, turned it down, said, no, I want to finish my career as a Bruin. As we see there, the Volleyball Monthly Player of the Year. That's the Volleyball Bible, the magazine. And he's had two out of two national championships in the 3 years he's been there, and he wants to finish 3 for 4, I'm sure.
There's a miss hit by Adam Lockwood, an ace serve that time in the back. Mike Whitcomb puts it in the back, and Lockwood puts it up into the crowd. It's 10-11. Just shanked by Lockwood. He serves again. This time Lockwood pumps it up to LaCroix. And Sickle over the top, but a free ball and misplayed by UCLA. Kept alive, though. Ball lands outside the line. Just barely, but that's good enough. And Damien Hardy checks back in for Maguire. And Damien jumping up and down. He's pumped up as he comes into the front row.
This could make a difference right here. Damien Hardy, Barry Maguire did a great job in the back row, by the way, for the Bows. Served well. Played back row. Excellent.
Hanneman sets it outside. Blocked by Lockwood. Kept alive by UCLA. And they say no, a lift on the UCLA side. Ralph Smith, the referee, calling it. It's 12-10. That's a big point for Hawaii.
Very big point. There's the roof sign over there. They got stuck on 11 for an awfully long time, allowed the Bruins back in the game. So to get that 12th point was very big.
Good serve by Van Sickle. Hanneman. Tough play, kept alive. That time mistiming by Sherman. Chance for Lockwood. But a big block by a Bruin wall. And put down on the Hawaii side by Bland.
Oh, Rich Bland with a great off-speed shot there. What an excellent choice of shots that last time. Hanneman gave him a beautiful jump set to the outside. Bland goes up, looks like it hit hard, and then he just takes a little bit off and sort of loops it over the block. LaCroix almost got it, but it was a brilliant shot by Rich Bland from Orchard Park, New York.
You can't set the ball much further than that. Hanneman, as you said, going all the way across court and then taking a little bit something off it. Checking into the game for Hawaii, Robbie Mape.
Robbie's a great defensive player. He's come in for Gary Van Sickle to give Gary a little rest and to give the Bulls a lift on defense.
10-12. That time tipped off the block. Remember, in men's volleyball, you get 6 subs a game, so as we get toward the end of game number 1, both coaches will use their substitutions very carefully. Matter of fact, UCLA has used very few subs. Mike Garcia in the game now. Kenny Wang came in and checking back in for Hawaii, or checking out for Hawaii. Ryan Papinga is in the back row coming in for Hawaii. Pancho Maluo, along with LaCroix, the other senior setter for the Rainbows. Flipped over the top and no one's there. Hawaii having problems just like UCLA that time, Chris, as their big block went up, nobody was on the side.
Well, here we see, is it Sherman with a little, no, it's Garcia with a little tip shot there. Had a great serve and then was slow coming up to take his defensive position and just barely missed getting there.
Briseño sets a tough play. LaCroix, though. Garcia outside. In front of Robbie Mape, and Garcia puts it down. The senior from Mission Viejo. It's 11-12. Briseño this time up close to the net. LaCroix, Lockwood through the block. Side out Hawaii, and Garcia says, I should have had it, or something like that.
John, what's happening now is that Adam Lockwood is really picking up the intensity level. He's making very few errors. I know he wants to have a career game tonight, knowing that his season could end.
Big roof.
Oh my, this is something UCLA is used to doing to other people. They're not used to having it done to them at all, especially by a small team.
Damian Hardy with a stronger roof than we have here at Clum Gym as he puts that one down. It's 13-11.
6'2" and 6'1" blockers. Hardy right there, and LaCroix from Waimea, Kauai. There is a tiny block compared to the 6'8" and 6'6" block that the Bruins put up.
Hardy already on our all facial expression squad. That ball goes down the line, hits the linesman, but it's way out. And it's 14-11. So if Hawaii wins it right here, Kevin Rank of Mililani will win a $50 gift certificate. Al Skates calls his second and final timeout to talk things over. We'll be back. $14-11 in game number 1. Of course, we play best 3 out of 5. The crowd on their feet. Hawaii serving for the game.
John,
Adam
the crowd
Lockwood.
on the feet doesn't normally happen till Aloha ball. It looks like this crowd is going to get into it every single game.
Adam Lockwood. Ball lands out. Ball lands outside the line.
You know, when things are up on your side and you're up 1-0 in a best out of 5 scenario, especially against a good team, obviously you'd like to be up as opposed to being down, and switching sides with the lead, with the confidence that you can win, and those kinds of conditions definitely enhance most of all morale and team attitude. And I think our guys getting underway, getting game 1 out of the way, knew that they were going to be competitive and had a good chance to win.
After we won that first game, we're like, we had in the back of our minds we were going to win, just a matter of time. We felt good in the timeouts. We were just saying we just play our game and we're going to win.
I felt pretty confident, you know. It's just like, usually if I'm still passing back there and we win, it usually looks like it's going to be a pretty good night. So I was pretty confident after the first game win.
You talk about the dynasties in the world of college athletics. Well, the dynasty of UCLA, how about that? Those are NCAA championships. Before that, they won a couple of USVBA, U.S. Volleyball Association championships. But how about that in the 80s, Chris? Every time they got into the Final Four in the 80s, they won. They never lost in the 80s in the Final Four. That's almost incredible. Those other years, they didn't qualify. But look at 81, 82, 83, 84. And you can see how amazing UCLA has been as far as dynasties go in men's volleyball. Now, we look at the top 20, and what you've got in gray there, for those of you at home, those are all the teams in the divisions of these two squads. That's the DeGroot and Wilson divisions. Right there, the top 10 teams in the country. You find me another sport where every team in the division is in the top 10. That's unbelievable.
Well, Jim Delaney of the Big Ten would claim that the Big Ten basketball conference was like that. He sent 7 teams to the NC2A.
Well,
so,
of course, in Big 8 had 3 #1 teams this year with Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma, but 10 teams and the top 10, and then you had, what, 2 others, UC Irvine and BYU were like 13 and 17 on that list. All 12 teams in this WIVA conference are the best teams in the country.
What's even more amazing is that one of these 2 teams may not go to the playoffs.
UCLA, of course, having qualified. Hawaii, of course, the team you're talking about. They need to win tonight and hope for a Stanford loss. Or if Hawaii should lose tonight, Stanford would have to lose twice. Rather control your own destiny. Hawaii winning the first game. Trevor Sherman going cross court. Gets the side out back for the Bruins after Hawaii takes the quick 1-0 lead. Chris, do you suspect we'll see anything different from Al Skates' Bruins in game number 2?
Oh, absolutely. I think any player that doesn't play up to his potential in game 2, Skates has been known to just yank them. He'll just pull them right out and put in a new lineup, put in new players, and he has the luxury of having a great enough bench to do that.
Kept alive nicely by Damian Hardy after a good save from the Hawaii side, but put down rather easily that time by Mike Whitcomb.
Well, here we have the night's greatest mismatch. 6'8", biggest player on the court right there, Whitcomb against 6'1", Lyman LaCroix. No match there, I'm afraid, for the young man from Waimea High School.
Then Papinga gets out of the way. Brian trying to climb under the floor on that one. It's 1-1. We're wiping up the floor, and back to serve is Hanneman. Briseño roof. Van Sickle keeps it alive. Briseño blocked again. Net violation against UCLA. A little bit overly aggressive. Rich Bland gets his body into the net. And it's back to Hawaii.
Rich Bland was a teammate of Lyman LaCroix's 2 years ago in North Carolina at the Olympic Festival. They both played for the East team, and they lived 2 doors down from me for 2 weeks. So I got to know both young guys very well.
Van Sickle with an absolute pummeling roof. We're talking cement mortar up there. That time number 14, Mike Whitcomb.
Oh, big block that time. Not much Hawaii can do about that, except Lyman's got to get the sets a little bit more off the net. And give his hitters a chance to use the block rather than hit into it.
Whitcomb, the biggest player out here tonight at 6'8", puts that one out of bounds on the serve. And here's LaCroix to serve for Hawaii. Line drive at Henkel. Lockwood, the best digger in America, puts it up. Up front, Papinga saves it outside. Van Sickle inside the pole. What a great play, Chris. Athletic move. He had to keep it inside the antenna. He does, and Hawaii pulls ahead 2-1.
I'll tell you something. 4 years ago, Gary Van Sickle would have hit the antenna on that one, trying to do too much with the ball. He could tell it was a bad set. He just did the best he could to keep it in the court, and he got a kill. Same as one of his 90-mile-an-hour heaters. So he'll take it any way he can get. A little smile right there from Gary. And I know he's proud to be playing his last series as a Bower. Hopefully it's not his last series, but his last homestand.
A serve. Lyman LaCroix gets a hand from his teammates on the bench. Pancho Maluo, backup setter, giving the support you need from a bench. And that's great team spirit. Maluo has certainly seen his share of starting duty for the Rainbows over the years. And LaCroix now seemingly fit into that #1 setting slot, and a good ace serve. It's 3-1. UCLA, a little overly aggressive. Hawaii had to go up with the block. Not much you can do, and a 6'7" guy looks like he's about to kill it. And smartly, the Bruins go over the block. Taking a look at game 1 statistics, Chris, both these teams hitting phenomenally. Look how even they are.
They each hit about 320 for the year. Hawaii hitting 390, 70 points above their season average. Bruins a little bit below theirs, but again, there wasn't so much that one team played poorly or had a bad. Both those percentages are very, very good. Anything over 300 in the match is very good. So just a matter of Hawaii having a little bit more at the end of that particular game in game #1. I think more emotionally for sure.
Well, as we say, hitting very much like in baseball. When you hit the 300, you earn about $4 million a year. So These two teams coming out and playing volleyball in those types of standards, you look for a 300 hitting percentage. These teams very close seasonally and very close in the first game. But all that matters is Hawaii ends up winning, and great defense. Briseño and Van Sickle tipped over by Sherman, kept alive, but no. And we're tied at 3. Randy Shaw telling Lyman LaCroix, ease off, ease off. A little warning there.
Lyman very frustrated he didn't pick that ball up. He really wants to win badly, and he's really pressing hard, and he was frustrated that the ball didn't press. So he pounds it down, almost goes to the ceiling of Plum Gym. Ralph Smith nearly pulled out his yellow card as a sport for a warning.
Well, and thank goodness for us it didn't hit the ceiling at Plum Gym. You never know what would have happened.
Carlos trying to get in the groove. He's having a very difficult time tonight getting going. Hawaii's the best all-around player right there, really having trouble. The 8 kills don't show the kind of trouble he's had tonight. He's hit a bunch of balls out that he normally doesn't, and he very dearly wants to play better than he is.
All set up front and put down. Keep in mind this Hawaii team on the court, the same Hawaii team that was 3 points away from going to the Final Four a year ago, but Carlos Briseño wasn't there. Alan Allen was there instead. So very experienced team out on the court for Hawaii tonight. They've been through a lot of big games before. Another hurdle they got to get over tonight is beating UCLA, a team they've lost to 16 out of 20 times over the years. Lockwood over the top, kept alive by Sherman, diving with his full frame, and Papinga. You've heard of the fall-away jumper, Chris McLaughlin. Well, here's a fall-away kill.
Well, this is the most unlikely series of plays here at the net. Papinga gets the last say with that kill, but prior to that, there were 3 or 4 very average plays by both teams, and it was a war of attrition right there as Papinga got the overset on the last one.
Try to go forward with your kills, get some momentum. Papinga hit that one pretty far, and he fell backwards, too. Van Sickle, Hinkle up front, dumped over, actually. Hanneman. Sherman in the back row. You'd think that would be the Hawaii's advantage, but they've scored a bunch of points with Trevor back there tonight. Papinga can't put much on that. A little bit beyond where he wanted it to be, I think. Hanneman, though, with a kill, a rare kill. So Hanneman gets the side out, now gets a kill, and the Bruins have pulled ahead here in game 2, 4-3. Hawaii won the first game 15-11.
And what may be Hanneman's only true spike of the night, those other 3 kills came off setter dump plays. Hanneman just drops it down in front of the extended rainbow defense. Very rare for the Bows to let a ball drop in front of him like that.
And as the years go on, he is 6'3". He may even grow another inch or so. You can be sure he'll add that to his repertoire. Not only blocking and dumping, but those kills. 4-3. Sherman gets the first point in this series. He'd like to continue it. Lockwood can't put a lot on it, but UCLA sends it up into the Bozos.
Hanneman that time chased the ball into the wrong part of the crowd, I'm afraid. Some of the Bozos getting a little bit out of control, but all in good fun.
Yeah, not if you're a UCLA fan. 3-4, Hawaii serving, trying to tie it up. Garcia smacks it down and then takes an elbow in the face from umpire Randy Shaw as his momentum carried him right into Shaw's elbow. But
Garcia, senior out of Laguna Hills High School in Mission Viejo, may be their best defensive player besides Benny Wang, the defensive specialist. Adam Lockwood, the former Chapman College basketball player, originally was going to play Division I basketball. Boy, is Alan Rosehill happy he came to play volleyball for the Bows.
that ball killed down by Whitcomb. Chris, one possible surprise tonight, UCLA has not used a guy we thought would come in, Mark Tedson, a utility player who's known for his backcourt defense and his left-handed shot. He's a senior, he's 6'2", he's a 3-time Letterman. Any reason why you think he might not be in so far?
I think Coach Skates is experimenting a little bit. Remember, he's already wrapped up his league. They don't need to win tonight's game, so I think he's letting other players see some action in a pressure-filled situation. There we see a shot of Tedson right there. He's a fifth-year senior, one of the great leaders on the team.
The UCLA finishing up their season tonight and tomorrow night. By no means do they want to enter postseason play with too many downsides. They lost to USC this weekend. That knocked them out of the #1 spot nationally. If they should lose to Hawaii tonight, it's not the kind of momentum you want going into postseason play in about 10, 15 days.
That's about the only goal I think that Coach Skates said that they had for tonight was to keep the momentum going and stay sharp for the playoffs.
That time miscommunication. Ball goes over Van Sickle. We showed you a graphic there. USC and Stanford tomorrow night. We'll hope to have a score for you at game time. That's the big match for Hawaii fans, assuming Hawaii can pull this one out.
And that's a big assumption.
That is. At this point, it's 5-3, the Bruins serving. Briseño, he's here.
Now he's warming up. That was the old Carlos. You know, John, sometimes in a real big, tough, high-pressure match like this, it takes a while for the setter and hitter to click as far as their synchronicity is concerned and timing all those sets.
Good block that time. It lands in. Ball lands in. They're all looking at the floor, but they don't leave any scuff marks with the balls here. They'll never find out where that one landed. Looked in from here.
Yeah, Garcia begging for a call there.
Sherman can't get a full piece of it. Van Sickle, tough play. Lockwood goes cross court and it lands in. And that time Ralph Smith said it lands in. He's smiling at the UCLA players. It's 5 apiece. Little begging going on by the Bruins that will not help. Again, it's a subjective call. You can't change it once it's made. Ball is creamed outside that time. UCLA looking for a tip. They don't get it. So 3 plays in a row. UCLA looking for some help. The only help they're going to get is their coach calling a timeout at this point. Hawaii 6, UCLA 5. Hawaii reeling off 3 in a row, and on every one, UCLA questioning the calls by the linesmen and the referees. Kept alive by the Hawaii defense. Papinga goes down and in. 7-5.
Oh, John, after a shaky second game start, the Bows are really lightening up now. Here they dig Sherman. They just slow down his spike. Hardy with a beautiful save, keeping the ball in his own side of the net. Papinga just going cross court against the 3 blockers. Saw the open spot. Got the point for the Bows.
Lyman LaCroix back to serve. It's 7-5. 4 points in a row for the Rainbows. That time, big kill goes up to about the 4th row, but hits the Clum ceiling first. Side out to UCLA.
John, what's got to be frustrating against playing a team like UCLA, they have so much tradition, so much wizardry right there, as you see with Giovinazzi and Skates. So much experience. They've got so much height as well. They can always come up with a big kill at the right time and a big block like that.
Very simply, Van Sickle turns to Lyman LaCroix, says, Lyman, got to get up a little bit higher against this land of the Giants here.
Trevor Sherman, the leading blocker in the country right there. He and Garcia up for the 1-2 combo.
6-7, UCLA trying to tie it here. There's the Hawaii offense. Briseño right up on top of Van Sickle's back, and he puts it down, 7-6.
That's what Hawaii has to do in order to go up against these big teams, is they've got to run a quick offense.
Hinkle, Hanneman, Sherman is blocked up front again. Other side, Garcia, he has been tough. Ball lands out. And that dropped him out of the #1 slot. And they'd like to get back there as Benny Wang checks into the game. Last year, Chris, at UCLA, Hawaii lost twice, 3-2. And Alan Rosedale tells me all these players remember in Game 5, Hawaii was ahead 11-2. So these players have good memories, and they remember how tough this UCLA team was and how they had them on the road last year and blew the game.
That's right. We see an interesting tit for tat there. Benny Wang, the best defensive specialist in the country, supposedly, serving out right after Hawaii's defensive specialist, Barry Mangawai, served out. So that time, Rich Bland with the spike out of bounds. I can't believe the Bruins are trying to go around the small Hawaii block. They can actually go over this block if they just extend and reach high enough. They can go over this small block.
Of course, a couple of roofs may have them thinking to themselves, 11-6. Papinga.
Oh, Barry Mangawai with a great dig to start the whole thing off. Lyman LaCroix with a beautiful set to the outside, fooling the Bruin block. Gave Papinga one-on-one. The Bows are on a roll.
Better check the air in that ball. Al Skates calls timeout. Hawaii deflating UCLA, 12-6. John Fink along with Chris McLaughlin at Clum Gym. Hawaii winning the first game 15-11 and starting to pull away in game #2, but this UCLA team is too good, and Al Skates is too smart to watch his team go down easily. You see him kind of with that wily look on his face. I don't know what he told him during the timeout. We'll see how it affects him, Chris.
I tell you, John, he's a great game coach. He and Giovinazzi make a great team. They've got Reed Sunohara, by the way, the former great Hilo athlete, as a graduate assistant coach as well.
Adam Lockwood, another dig. That's why he leads the country in digging. Tipped over the top, kept alive. Bruins on the floor. And so is the ball. And here comes Mr. Tedson. After that one, Al Skate said, "You're in." And Mark Tedson checks in, and he's checking in. No, we don't know exactly who he's checking in for yet.
Tedson was, Giovinazzi told me, may be the hardest worker on the team. He's the guy who leads warm-ups. He's the guy who works hardest in all the drills and practice. He's the emotional spark plug on this team. He plays a lot of fire, heart, and desire. He's the guy who's come in many times and saved them. Last year, he came in and helped him a lot. This year, he's come in several times. There he is right now, slapping hands with everybody, getting them fired up. He's a lefty. He may be just the kind of a prescription that the UCLA needs right now. A left-hander, might be a little hard for the Bows to block.
He's a senior, and of course it's tough coming in at this point with this crowd going crazy. It's 13-6 Hawaii, but as you say, he is a lefty, which is going to throw Hawaii off a little bit. He's also a great backcourt defensive player. That's where he is right now. So Mark Tedson coming in to see what he can do for the Bruins. He's back there with Benny Wang, who's the best digger on the team. So UCLA with a very defensive lineup. Tedson first swing is blocked by Hawaii. And Sickle goes cross court. Opinga kept alive, and Briseño kept alive.
See Briseño very quickly up on a quick play there, caught the Bruins off guard. We saw Dan Landry in there, a substitute for the Bruins, couldn't get up fast enough. And once again, this Bow crowd, the Clun crowd, normally only stands on match point. But in game number 1, the whole gym stood up. In game number 2, they're standing up again. The crowd is very well informed. I think they know how much this match means to the Rainbow men's volleyball program.
Lyman LaCroix for game 2. Bad set by the Bruins, but kept alive as Hawaii tips it over. Knocked over, but a chance for the Rainbows outside. Opinga. Look at the hitting percentage of Hawaii, and only 2 errors. You can't get much better than that, Chris.
Well, it really is an almost perfect game by the Bows, hitting 550. They normally hit 320. They're 220 points above their 230 points above their normal average. The Bruins hitting 345. That's above their average.
Well, and UCLA usually holds their opponents to a 261 hitting percentage. So if you look at the stats and saw that UCLA only made 4 errors, you'd say, gosh, must have won that game, but no.
New lineup for the Bruins. Al Skate's not afraid to put in subs.
And a side out to Hawaii as Garcia and Sherman cannot take care of Popinga's big hit.
Alan Skates has got Oren Shur in. He's the former Israeli player for the '87 Israeli national team. They also put back in
Tedson's in again.
Tedson, yes.
So we've got Sherman, we've got Hanneman, we've got Garcia still in. So Whitcomb is still out there. So basically Henkel and Bland are the 2 on the sideline right now.
Already, John, Tedson's going around firing everybody up, getting the Bruins to concentrate and focus a little better than they are.
That time Garcia pushes it over. LaCroix tried to dump it. Garcia was right there and puts it back. Very intense look in a lot of the players' eyes on the UCLA side. There's Scher back to serve. LaCroix back set. Briseño blocked. That time a kill by Lyman LaCroix, and he talks to the ball as it walks out of bounds. Side out for Hawaii. Tony Kraboff off the Rainbow bench talking.
Notice Lyman's missing his tail. Cut it off after one of the recent losses. Very upset that the team wasn't playing well. And the Bows get a break there as Albert Hanneman is into the net. Bows get off to a 1-all tie here. I think it's very important for the Bows right now to get off to a decent start in game number 3. Very tough to beat this Bruin game in Bruin team in 3, but if the Bows are to make a run, I think they ought to make it now or early in game 4. If it goes to game 5, they've not played well in game number 5 this year, so I really think it's up to them not to lay on their 2-0 game lead right now, but really to be assertive here in games 3 and 4.
Well, you bring up a great point, Chris. The 2 biggest losses of the season for Hawaii against Long Beach State right here and against Stanford right here, and they lost both of them 3-2. In the meantime, UCLA with 3 losses on the season. All 3 of those losses have come in 4 games, so nobody has skunked the Bruins in 3 straight this year. Lyman LaCroix back to serve. Hawaii getting this side out at 1-1. Diving Hawaii players on the floor, Hardy and LaCroix, but it'll go back over to the Bruins.
One of the things coaches love about that particular play is rather than both players going, I got it, you take it, and standing around and watching it, we've got an aggressive Hawaii team. This is why they're so good. 2 players going for the ball like that, not caring about their bodies at all, just doing anything they can to get the ball up. That's a sign of a great defensive team. That's why Hawaii leads the country in defense. And night in and night out, they give other bigger teams fits.
1-1, LaCroix, tough set. Papinga hangs in the air, puts it off the block, and it lands. Well, hit the block, it doesn't matter much where it lands. Boy, Papinga, like a puppeteer, being hung from the rafters that time. Just hung up in the air and gets it back for the Rainbows. Briseño serving, and he serves long, so 2 serves out already here in this 3rd game for Hawaii. Maybe a little bit too excited after the game. Damian Hardy holding up 1 finger, basically telling everybody, 1 more, guys, 1 more, 1 at a time. Adam Lockwood and Briseño going at it. Briseño from behind the 10-foot line comes up off the block. Side out. Chris, the UCLA block just hasn't worked enough against Hawaii tonight for the Bruins to run up any kind of a roll.
It's about to happen at any time, though. The longer the night gets, the more advantage goes to the bigger team, in my opinion, the bigger team with the bigger block. And the Bruins have a great block, a great blocking coach in Al Skates and Greg Giovinazzi. And eventually, unless Hawaii really takes it to the Bruins, they'll figure out this Hawaii offense, and they'll start reading Hawaii's setter, Lyman LaCroix, a little bit better. So I think Hawaii's really got to capitalize and get things over with in a hurry if they're to have a chance against the Bruins.
Of course, on the other hand, you've got the conditioning factor and the humidity here in Plum Gym. All these players, you know, within a couple of inches of each other. You got to wonder if UCLA is used to playing in this type of climate. This is the tropics.
You're right.
I mean, California's warm, but I'll bet you their gym's a lot different than this.
That's right. We just had a yellow card, by the way, by Ralph Smith. Gave it to Adam Lockwood as Lockwood punted a ball to the other end of the gym after what he felt was a poor call was made.
Well, Ralph Smith called the ball tipped off of Lockwood. It looked like Whitcomb might have hit it out. At least that's what Adam Lockwood thought. But it's moot, and again, you can't argue with a subjective call. And UCLA trickles ahead 2-1. And Whitcomb way back to serve. Deep in your picture there. Ryan Papinga goes cross court. It lands out.
Bows have got to get settled down now. The Bruins are in a groove right now. Serving well, blocking well, forcing the Bows to hit long and out. Bows a little unnerved by that last yellow card that was given to Lockwood. And a team that's great has got to have good composure.
Lockwood asking for a wiping up of the floor, even though nobody fell that time. Interesting. I wonder if he was trying to get his own composure there. Lift called that time. Going to the Bruins, 4-1. So Hawaii going through a little lull here early in game 3. This is not the kind of team you want to let get under your skin, so to speak. It's 4-1. Whitcomb, the big one, in the back to serve again. Tough play. Lifted that time. It's 5-1. And Alan Rosehill has certainly seen enough as the Rainbows playing Jekyll and Hyde. Very ugly looking Rainbow squad right here. It's 5-1. And UCLA now, Hawaii calls timeout.
A bud fact about former Bruins, you see all the All-Americans there. The most notable, Karch Kirai, maybe the best volleyball player in the world. And Mike Seeley, the setter who's not playing right now, is supposedly about the same level as Karch Kirai was when he was setting at UCLA.
And he's not playing, and the Bruins have just pulled ahead 6-1. And that young man has helped out quite a bit as he's come in. Mark Tedson coming in here. And Hawaii now will go to the bench. Coming in for Gary Van Sickle. Number 10 is Brad Stewart from University High.
And John, what's happening is the Bulls are having a little bit of trouble passing the ball right now. They've had 3 out of the Bruins' 6 points have come because the Bruins serve has been tough, and the Bowl passers have passed it over the net. So Brad Stewart does the same thing. He passes it over the net.
But UCLA makes a rare mistake that time and puts it right back over. Adam Lockwood off the block, off the rafters, and it's side out to the Rainbows.
That time the Bows very lucky. Brad Stewart's ball that was passed over the net really could have easily been pounded down by the Bruins, but they mishit it. Bows got lucky.
They hit it right back over. Again, that's where you have to show the self-control and set it up. Pass it to a teammate. Sherman off the block. Kept alive by Briseño. Lockwood off the block. Briseño. Lockwood.
Oh, LaCroix with a great set going right back to Adam Lockwood. He knows that Adam's hot, and great setters will stay on their hot hitters. Fooled the Bruin block that time. Lockwood picked up probably his 14th or 15th kill. He had 13 after 2 games. He's got to have 14 now. He averages 4 or 5 a game, so he's well above his average.
The crowd sprinkled all over the floor, as you can see, around the front row and back there with Brian Papinga. This place is jammed tonight, and you saw Lockwood breathing hard. You mentioned, Chris, the bigger players, as time goes on, the block can become more effective. Again, we'll watch the conditioning, see how these guys fare. We're late in the season. If they're ever going to be in good shape, it better be now. Sherman blocks it out. It's 3-6.
As you said, John, every nook and cranny of Clum Gym is being filled right now, and most of them are Bow rooters as the Bruins shank that one.
That's not what Tetson wanted to do with his left-handed slam. That time it's 4-6, and Al Skates calls timeout. Back and forth we go. Where we end up, nobody knows. Well, here's what happens if they go to the Final Four tournament, the WIVA tournament that leads to the Final Four. You see the third-place team, which could be Hawaii, would play Cal State Northridge. And the second-place team would play UCSB. There you see UCLA is in, so a lot of confusion in the Wilson division. None of the positions have been determined yet. Hawaii needs to win tonight to get one step closer, and now it's 5-6.
Oh, Hawaii very lucky that time. Orange Sure, the internationally acclaimed Israeli national team player, hit that one into the top of the net.
Bruins get it back on the dink. 6-5.
Again, Sherman, such a smart middle hitter right there, knowing where the open area of the court was. LaCroix and Stewart banging heads to get to it, but Trevor Sherman, a wily, cagey player, knows the game well, a real student of the game. A great player ever since high school. As soon as he got rid of his high school coach, he got better.
Most of them do. Right back to the Rainbows. They thwart the UCLA attempt to rally. I'll tell you one thing I've noticed about Sherman. He doesn't seem to be smiling much tonight. He wants to play well in front of the home crowd, and he is very intense talking to his teammates. Of course, Carlos Briseño is a great player. He doesn't smile all that often either. There you see Sherman.
That's where guess where they had the Bruins training table last night. They went up to Waimanalo, and Joyce and Bill Sherman, Trevor's parents, fed the entire Bruin team. We'll see if that fuel helps them tonight.
6-5. Big set goes through the lights, so it's kept alive. Sure. Briseño. LaCroix to Briseño off the block, and right there is Stewart. Here's Briseño. Kept alive. Sure, outside. Garcia. A lot of blockers up, but it lands down. And Damian Hardy says something, and Ralph Smith says, don't give me that. Come on. Ralph Smith says, no way. I'll tell you, the referee and umpire, Shaw and Smith, are hearing it from both sides. And I'm a little bit surprised they're letting it go on and even responding.
Well, what's happening is there's a lot of talk going on across the net right now, and Damian just wants to keep it a clean play and not have all that extracurricular chirping going on.
Damian Hardy pops it over the top. They're Sure, though, a little bit too high on that tip. However, nobody home for the Bruins. And it's 7-5, and Hawaii's got it, or it's 5-7. Hawaii gets it back. Hardy back to serve at 5-7. UCLA squad doing a great job with their scouting, Chris. Alan Rosehill told me that UCLA has had to add extra seats to their bench on the road to handle some of the scouts that come along with the team to keep track of statistics.
Once again, we saw the shot by Sherman after a great pass by Garcia to the net. Hanneman with a beautiful back set to Sherman. He picked up his 13th kill. But what Sherman did, though, is I don't know if he knew that Hardy served that ball, but Hardy was definitely late getting there, and Sherman hit it right to where Hardy would have been had he not been the server.
UCLA pulling out some new stops in game 3, and again, I mentioned they have extra people who keep track of all these statistics. And there's Stewart with a big kill.
Oh, big-time hit by the freshman from University High School in Hawaii Kai right there. Brad Stewart coming in to pass the ball for the Bows right now. They had some passing woes early on here in game number 3, and he's primarily a passer. To come up with a big kill like that is just an extra bonus.
That'll get his adrenaline going, too. Tough save by Tedson, tipped over the top. Good pancake by Damian Hardy. Chance for Papinga. He goes cross court.
Net violation.
Net violation called on the Bruins. I was going to say the ball lands out, but UCLA in the net. Costly mistake by UCLA.
Rainbows got very lucky there that time. Papinga hit that ball out, but he hit it slowly out. As we see the pancake dig right there, a little spatula under that by Damian Hardy. Papinga goes up and swings, but on the way down, the Bruins hit the net right there before the ball touches the ground. Hence, the Bows get the point.
It's got to be a quick call. Again, if he touches the net afterwards, it's okay. That ball lands outside and wide. Trevor Sherman goes wide. It's 6-7. Now it's 7-7. Hawaii has tied things up. Set in the middle. Not much effort, not much of a play there for UCLA. Outside. And 2 hits called that time on Carlos Briseño.
Oh, Carlos didn't like that call. Bows had a great opportunity there to go ahead 8-7 here in game 3. Crucial play. We're going to look back at that one and find that that may have made a big difference unless they can get a side out here and regain some momentum. That was an unfortunate play.
To his credit, Briseño doesn't say much. Just kind of looks up and gets back into the game right away. And that's the best way to get back at a team, or a referee for that matter. If you don't like a call, put it down. And here's Briseño back to serve.
To Ralph Smith's defense, though, he's been very consistent tonight. Either team that puts up a ball like that, he's going to call it.
And again, we said it's subjective. What's the point of arguing? Save your strength for focusing on what you need to do. And let's do things like that, as that time UCLA hums it down.
That time Mark Tedson, not known as a great outsider. He's a good outsider here, but his best thing is his emotional and competitive intensity.
Stewart up front. Adam Lockwood jumps up about 14, 15 feet off the ground.
Oh, you know what we saw then was the Bruin back court yelling at the Bruin front court saying, hey, come on, blockers, get your act together. We're getting killed back here. What's happening is Lyman LaCroix running a very intricate, quick offense that's leaving the blockers hung out to dry quite often.
Hawaii can't make the save on that one, and it goes back over to UCLA.
This Bruin team's so impressive. They've been ranked 1 or 2 all season long. They've got a dozen players, any of whom can start at a given time, and they can win games.
Well, Hawaii, of course, been up there in the top 5 all year long. USC, Stanford have also been ranked #1 this year. That time it lands down on the Hawaii side. A little campfire play. Everyone gathers around and watches it.
That was your classic campfire defense right there as Oren sure goes up, doesn't attack the ball, just gives a little loop shot right there. Everybody watches, gather around, let's get the marshmallows out, light the fire. Not the best defense to play.
Well, no one was singing songs in that one as Adam Lockwood puts it back down and Hawaii gets the side out.
If I were a 6'8 blocker blocking against 6'1 Adam Lockwood, I think I would be totally befuddled by how he gets around and through blocks time and again.
Same way Spud Webb goes through taller players to drive through the lane. I mean, he just uses his head.
That's right. Oren sure that. Leading the team in kills per game right there. Didn't even start tonight's match, and he's their leader in kills per game.
Big roof up front that time by Schur and Sherman. UCLA now 9-7. What they're effectively doing now, Chris, is they get a couple of points. They're starting to take a little bit of this plum crowd out of it. And this place is as crowded as I've ever seen it. We got people standing in the doorways. Alan Rosehill got what he wanted tonight, a full house.
He sure did. This is an event.
Tedson serving. Stewart, not a real good pass. Briseño from the back row, and UCLA is going to have a chance on this ball. Hanneman outside. Garcia blocked. Outside Lockwood. Over the top and a dig and a save. Stewart keeps it up again. Here's Lockwood.
Oh, Adam Lockwood is uncanny at the way he finds a way to get a kill. He goes inside the block, he goes through the block, he goes over the block, he goes around it.
And he goes at it, and that time he hit it, he couldn't even tell it went over the net.
He really did. Watch, he goes up here, gets inside the blocker's hands, and the ball somehow squeezes inside Sherman's. And he's going up against the best blocker in the country right there. Just amazing. He's having a year that he will never, ever forget. Remember last year he played in the shadow, as so many other players did, of Allen Allen. This year this team was given their own identity. They all had to pull a little bit more to compensate for the loss of Allen Allen, and Adam is having one of those banner years.
Through the blocks, side out, back over to UCLA. So the Bruins, in the meantime, not letting Hawaii get off that 7 spot. And they are trying to break into double figures, which Chris always mentions is a real momentum getter to break into that 10 category. Briseño will have none of it.
Oh, Lyman LaCroix with a great play that time that totally fooled the Bruin block. Carlos Briseño up with nobody blocking him. And again, whenever that happens, the hitter is at a tremendous advantage.
Damien Hardy serving, pushed up front. Hanneman, Sherman off of Hardy. Popinga comes over to the crowd, keeps it alive, but a little bit too high. He puts it up into the rafters, signs a couple of autographs, and comes out of the crowd. Chris, what I was mentioning before about all the statisticians, what they're looking for, in case you're wondering, on the UCLA side is they keep track of who's getting the ball for Hawaii, how many times the back row is set, how many times the quick hitters are set. Do they set the first or second option? Which rotation gets the most points for Hawaii? What are their hitting tendencies down the line, cross court? All those things which don't show up on a stat sheet are being kept by these extra chairs on that man's sideline, Al Skates.
That's right. That's one of the reasons why he is a great game coach. He's blessed with statisticians and a system that works. And as the game goes on, things become more and more his advantage because he gets more and more information about the other team, and he's able to diagnose matchups and line up his block and his back row to best defend against the other team.
No mistake that time on the UCLA side. The ball came over by Hawaii, a mishit, and they try to hit it back, and they hit a net violation, and Whitcomb gets it right back. So UCLA refusing to yield here in game 3. And the crowd really catching their breath again, hoping and chanting for a Hawaii rally. Garcia with a floater. Outside, and Briseño gets it back for Hawaii.
Brad Stewart giving Hawaii some excellent passing right now. Bruins are serving very tough. That's lead. A great Bruins serve. Stewart's come in and passed the ball very well. For a freshman, he's not showing any signs of nervousness at all.
Sherman comes up and puts it down.
Oh, Trevor, I can remember when he practiced that in our gym in high school, and he wasn't nearly as successful as this. Here he goes up and leaps from behind the 10-foot line. He used to practice it all the time, but never could quite do it. Now that he's a Division I collegian, he seems to do it with ease.
That violation against UCLA, Briseño puts it down anyway, so while Hawaii can't get off 7, UCLA can't get over that proverbial hump of 9. And Brad Stewart's seen plenty of action for Gary Van Sickle here in game 3. Serves it down the line. Tough play for Tedson. Outside for Sure. Kept alive. Lockwood. Lockwood off the block by Sure. Sure again. Root!
Oh, there is a big, big block. Brian Popinga, who everybody thinks should be a great blocker because he's so big, really doesn't come up with a big block that often, but here he comes up and turns it into the court, kept his eyes open that time, and put it to the ground.
Tedson block, but it lands out. Boy, Hawaii had an open court there, but sometimes when you block, it's just hard to aim, and that one lands out. Damien Hardy, second on the team in total blocks, right there with Popinga. Carlos Briseño, the team leader, with about 20 more blocks than the two, Hardy and Popinga. Those are the big 3 blockers for Hawaii. Popinga tips it over the top. Free ball for the Bruins. Tedson, left hand, goes across. Hardy was diving too early when it hit the net.
who couldn't make the play, and that one hurt. Hardy going down hard on the floor that time.
Well, again, the left-handedness of, here we see the pass by Stewart, tip shot by Poppinga. Bruins keep it up. Great outside set by Hanneman there. And here's the left-handed little looper across court. Hardy was there and then just fell down getting there. Just sort of got his feet crossed, and easy play, actually. And Tedson, again, the lefty, oftentimes that throws off the block and the defense. He did it then.
Well, and Damian saw the ball coming, but it hit the net, and so Damian was on the floor before the ball got there. Lockwood right through the block again. So at 8:10, Benny Wang comes into the game in the back row for Whitcomb. And checking in for Hawaii, Pancho Maluo in the back row for Brian Poppinga. Some last-minute instructions from Coach Rosehill. Maluo checking over to the side. Goes down the line. Put over by Tedson. Damian Hardy off the great dig. Benny Wang. Another dig in the back for Hawaii, but it goes out.
Oh, Benny Wang showed us then why he may be the premier defensive specialist in the league. He gets a low 5 from Oren Sure there. Hawaii had a sure point right there.
Briseño blocked, and it'll land out, and it'll be back over to the Rainbows.
Well, there have been a couple points right here in mid-game where Hawaii has not come up the fortunate one. The one where Briseño got called for a throw, and that last one that Wang dug that was just incredible. Should have been a 9th point for the Bows.
But that's why Al Skates brings Wang in, and that's why Garcia's in there putting the ball down hard here. Remember, Hinkle and Bland have not been in this game. They were 2 starters.
Garcia goes up, excellent vertical jump there, and just turns it back down the line. Again, picking on the shortest blocker in the Bows, Lacroix.
Popped over the top, and no one there. So a swing and a miss by the Bruins on that play, and that'll go down as a kill. That's the old 3-mile-an-hour kill.
Interesting, John, that both teams are using a lot of those off-speed shots tonight, more than I would thought have been used, being that both teams are so powerful. But I think that their defenses are both so extended and so wide, waiting for the heavy hammer, that I think they both want to go to the tip shot and hope to catch the other team off guard.
And as we get going, Chris, these teams starting to assume what the other team might do, and they're all getting up there for the block. It creates more opportunities, perhaps, for that dink or dump shot over the top. And again, that's what the good teams will do, is keep you off guard. They'll change speeds, they'll change angles. And we've got 2 of the best here in Hawaii and UCLA. Game 3, the Bruins leading 10-8. Whitcomb checks back into the lineup for Benny Wang, who made one big, tremendous dig in the back row.
It was a big, big play. Bows may look back on that, may come back to haunt them. We'll see.
Briseño blocked up front, chance for the Bruins. Sherman looked to the side, a great short set. Trevor Sherman just out of the corner of his eye saw Whitcomb coming up in the middle, and he and Whitcomb smiling at each other now, and Alan Rosehill calls timeout. It's 11-8, UCLA trying to extend our match. On the left side of your screen, watch Trevor Sherman come over for this ball. Now watch his eyes. You'll see it right here coming up. There he looks. He sees Whitcomb in the middle and just tips it to him. Whitcomb puts it down, and they enjoyed that immensely, looking at each other and saying, "Thanks, brother."
Trevor showing that he can not only boom it and block it, he can set it too.
Ooh, a big play for Hawaii there. Whole ball almost at the net. And Pancho Maluo going up. Or actually, that was Lyman Lacroix going up there and making the play. Or it was Maluo. He goes out now, and Poppinga comes back in. See if Hawaii can turn the momentum around. It's 8-11. The Bruins coming back here in Game 3. Garcia. Magawai in defensively for Hawaii. Outside, Stewart partially blocked. Hawaii with a lot of different players on now. What we saw at the beginning, Stewart, good dig in the back row by Sure. And Whitcomb with that full 6'8" frame extending to get it back for the Bruins.
Well, Mike Whitcomb, really the unsung hero tonight. Honorable mention All-American last year. He plays opposite Trevor Sherman, as we said earlier, and he just is quietly getting 14 kills and hurting the Bows at every turn.
It's a killer of a hitter at .405. Hawaii does not want to let Game 3 escape and let the Bruins back into the match. 8-11. Bruins took an early lead. There's a tough set. Great dive by Hanneman. Just tipped over. Chance for the Rainbows. Outside, Lockwood goes cross court and out.
Bose had a great opportunity there to go to 9-11. Again, they're going to look back on that kind of a play and wish that they had kept the ball in play. But there's the guy that's brought him this far, too. He finally makes an error. Shows that he's human.
Week 2 of the season, he was the WIVA Player of the Week, and that was because he had an incredible .923 hitting percentage. .923, that's the best in the league, as you can imagine. And that was earlier this season when he was the WIVA Player of the Week. Briseño over the top, and there's nobody. And back into the game comes the emotional spark plug, Damian Hardy. He comes back in for Barry Magawai. Hardy with some advice from off the bench. And Stewart back to serve. Up front the Bruins, and that time Tedson trying to jump over with them. Kind of like trying to leave tall buildings in a single bound. He just couldn't get extended and goes into the block. It's 9-11.
Adam Lockwood, normally not a great blocker, goes up and gets the straight roof down onto Tedson's knee right there. There's a big smile from Adam.
Good serve. Hanneman with a set and just tipped over and tipped back. Missed timing that time by Whitcomb and Hanneman. That makes it 10-11. And they call a net violation against Hawaii, so change that. It is 9-11.
What happened that time, John, is Randy Shaw, the umpire, saw that Damian Hardy on the way down after he blocked caught a little bit of net.
Damian said, "My hand?" All hands down. It's 12-9. So suddenly from being what we thought might be 10-11, now the Bruins 12-9. Hawaii trails by 3. The Bruins need 3 to send it to a 4th game. Outside off the block. Outside it lands wide. Not touched. Side out Hawaii.
Al Skates and Greg Giovinazzi wondering why their players aren't hitting those kind of balls into the court. They're getting great digs and blocks. The hitters are not doing the job keeping the ball in play.
Briseño can't keep it alive. It'll go back over to the Bruins. So Hawaii can't get over the 10 mark and cut the lead to 2. It's 12-9 Bruins, and back to serve the lefty, Tedson. Off the net. Damian Hardy can't do much with it, but just pop it over. Chance for UCLA. Trevor Sherman knocks it down. 13-9.
Looked like a possible net violation that time. Here where the Bruins get at the end of the play right there, but prior to that, on the Bruin block, it looked like one of them might have caught the net on the way down, but no call.
Damian Hardy is roofed, and it lands in. What a big block they put up that time. The Bruin wall, it's 14-9. Tedson back to serve and cut the lead to 2-1.
Again, the Bruin block becoming a factor in this match.
Up front, Stewart. Outside, Briseño. Not much on it. Good dig in the back. Sure to Sherman. Damian Hardy looks through the net and says, yeah.
That time Trevor Sherman just took a little bit off his shot just to keep it in play, and Hardy went up, hung there, and just banged it back. But the Bruin block, as I said earlier, becoming such a factor the longer the night goes.
Damian Hardy not real pleased, possibly on that last call that went against him. Looked up and said something to Ralph Smith, and Ralph Smith was just shaking his head. Referee and umpire have certainly heard from the players tonight.
Well, there's so much riding on this match, John, and especially for the Bows. For the Bruins, they've already wrapped up their division title. They're going out there playing very loose. They've got the #1 seed going into the WIVA postseason tournament. You know, they're coming to Hawaii, going to have a good time. They just want to keep momentum, stay sharp, and just play well and have fun in front of a crowd like this. The Bows, on the other hand, really have their backs against the wall.
I want to point out from the UCLA side, you don't want to go into postseason play with a losing record. UCLA lost to USC. They don't want to go down to Hawaii here tonight. And a big roof again, Schur and Sherman. And suddenly that giant wall of UCLA really seeming to catch up with the Rainbows. It's 14-9. Serving for the game is Schur.
The Waimanalo wall once again.
Stewart, LaCroix outside, Papinga through the block and over to Hawaii. That time Hanneman got a piece of it, but it goes back over to the Rainbows.
Bows refusing to say die here. Papinga staying in a groove. Bows finishing strong here in game number 3. Regardless if they win or lose this, at least they're playing hard and playing well at the end of game number 3.
Ball lands out. Not a good hit that time by Garcia. 10-14. Here you see Giovinazzi on the right chewing the gum a little bit harder. Off the block, side out to the Bruins. Giovinazzi in 1984. Check this out. The men's team was 38-0. He was the assistant coach, won a national title, obviously. And the women's team won a national title that year. He was Banikowski's assistant coach. So he picked himself up 2 titles as an assistant coach. Trevor Sherman for the game. LaCroix back set. Papinga off the block and out to Aiea. And over this side out Hawaii.
Ryan Papinga really coming into his own, showing no signs of that shoulder surgery that he had in the offseason. He really powdered that one. Boom, boom, Brian.
10-14. Sherman roofed up front but kept alive. Papinga, good reflexes. Stewart over the top. There's Sherman. Hanneman. Tough set that time. And Hawaii wanted a lift on that set that time. Alan Rosehill up off the bench. Can't believe that wasn't called.
Looked like 2 hits from here, but it happened so fast that those plays are often hard to catch. This game is very difficult to call, very difficult to referee, and the Bows were looking for a call there. But all those kind of things even out. Looks like it right there. Looked like he held it a little bit too long. It might even come off one hand, then the other.
Of course, in
In
slow
either
motion.
case, it's a moot point.
Yeah, and in slow motion, looks like he took it out for a picnic and then threw it. 14-10. Garcia again serving for the game. Stewart, LaCroix. Stewart roofed, and UCLA is back in it. 15-10. They win game number 3. Don't count the Bruins out.
This week, third game, now there's momentum on their side of the net. Now they're feeling like, hey, we've gotten over the first hurdle. Let's get after another game. And at that point, there's a real gut check, and the guys really need to examine whether they want to quickly end the night and play well, or it could turn out to be a long, sustained evening.
I was in the huddle on telling our players that, you know, they took the game off of us because we gave them the game. They didn't actually take it from us. So I just made everybody feel sure that we could win game 4 and not go to game 5.
I think there was a little bit of a letdown, which, tends to happen. It's hard to focus in for 3 hours or however long the match lasts. So I felt confident coming in the 4th. I knew we were going to pull that one off.
We knew we let down a little bit. We were kind of relaxed, but we just said, hey, we got to pick it up again. Just we need one more, and came out and gave it all we had at 4th game.
Adam Lockwood to serve for Hawaii in game 4. Cross court, side out for UCLA. And Chris, one of the things we noticed during the break, the crowd maybe regaining their strength, but they had definitely quieted down.
One of the reasons they've quieted down is that the Bruins are having their way right now, and the Bows aren't playing quite as well. And that'll do it to the crowd every time.
Well, if the crowd is worth 2 or 3 points, or at least some adrenaline to get you jumping higher, best thing you can do if you're a visitor is take the crowd out of the play. Damian Hardy back to serve for Hawaii as they get the side out back. Hardy goes to Garcia. Hanneman with the dump. He's only done it about 4 times, but he really hasn't missed yet. Very smart play.
Well, John, the sign of a great setter is picking your right spots. And here he picks a good spot. He sees no block up, goes up and gives it a little dump shot. Great play by Albert Hanneman, again with the local connections with the Hanneman family, and he's playing well in front of his fans.
That time Briseño taking something off it. Tedson comes over to try to make the play. He cannot get there. So Hinkle and Bland still on the bench. Tedson and Schur the winning combination from Game 3 on the floor for the Bruins. The other 4 starters still out there: Garcia, Hanneman, Whitcomb, and Sherman. For Hawaii, the same starting lineup they began the evening with, except for Stewart in the game right now up front. And Van Sickle on the bench for Hawaii. Miss hit that time. Attempted little dink by Sherman. And the crowd all over him that time.
John, it may not mean much, but I'd say that point was very big. For Hawaii to get the first point here in game number 4, I think is crucial. I think they've really got to press to win this game. Going into the 5th, there's just too much luck involved. Again, too much advantage, I think, to the bigger UCLA block. And Hawaii has not played well in game 5 all year long.
Remember the new game 5 rally system, where every time it's served, a point will be scored, whether you're on defense or offense.
And some teams play well using that, some teams don't. Hawaii's one of those teams that I don't think plays well in that particular system.
Well, as we said, their whole season could come down to the 2 games they lost at home in game 5 to Stanford and Long Beach State. And that time the ball, as they say, off the Hawaii block, and Hawaii says was 3 feet over our block. Doesn't matter. It's called by the linesman and the referee. Garcia back to serve. Carlos Cristeño, a couple of big kills early in game 4.
He's got 23 going into game number 4 here. He picks up his 24th and 25th kills with that particular shot.
Hanneman outside. Tedson, the lefty. Good dig in the back. Off the block, kept alive by Schur. Actually, a great pass on that one by Schur. Boy, he just kind of reached up there, Chris, and punched that thing way up in the air very nicely. And UCLA gets it back on the side out.
Well, again, Whitcomb is the guy who's quieting the Bows up front at 6'8". He is definitely a force, as we see the serve to Brad Stewart. Lockwood again finding a way to get inside that Bruin block. That time he got inside of Tetson. The 6'2" senior from Santa Cruz. The 6'1" senior Adam Lockwood picks up his 22nd kill by finding, again, another way to beat the big Bruin block. He should write a book on it.
Tough pass outside. The dig by Hawaii outside. Papinga off the block, and it hits Papinga's shoulder and goes outside out to UCLA.
There we see the big block that went back. It's hard to see right there, but it did go off Papinga's shoulder, and the Bruins got the side out.
Tough pass, tough set, and Lockwood from the back row, and it's roofed up front. Kept alive by Hawaii. I don't think UCLA can believe that ball was pancaked. Tedson, though, hits it long, not touched. Skates thought it was touched. I think the Bruins felt they were robbed a couple of times on that one. Back over to Hawaii, though.
In Tedson's defense there, I did think he got a little pinky of the outside hand of the Hawaii blocker, but those things in volleyball happen.
Yeah. How you saw that pinky, I don't know.
That time Oren Schur not happy with his performance there. He had nobody up on the block. Great set by Hanneman, and he just cabled it and launched it out of bounds.
3-0 Hawaii starting out strong in game 4. Sherman comes back. He hits it out. Schur looking for the tip. Sherman not happy. And now Skates not happy. Calls a Bruin timeout. Rainbows lead 4-0.
One of the reasons that Al Skates is such a great game coach is he knows when to call timeouts. And in my opinion, that timeout he just called at 4-0 was a brilliant one. He took the Clum crowd out of it. He stole away Hawaii's momentum, and maybe, just maybe, the Bruins can come out with a good side-out play right here.
Well, the man
awful early timeout to call, but it was a smart one in my opinion.
Ball goes up into the Wahine Championship flags. It'll be a side-out for UCLA. Skates coming into this match with an .873 winning percentage. That's unbelievable. 13 national titles in NCAA play and 2 in USVBA play. He is a master of the game. And Tedson with another error there. He hit one long before. The famous my fault as he serves it into the net.
I think the Bows like where they're serving on the other side of the gym, and the crowd is further back at that end of the gym.
Big roof by Damian Hardy, and he pokes it down.
Adam Lockwood likes that. You can step back a little bit further, and Lockwood, of course, loves to serve that long floater. And here's Hardy and LaCroix punching that one down.
Hardy with the hang time, that one. Hanneman goes to Sherman off the block. There's Lockwood. LaCroix outside. Briseño, Tedson. Outside, Garcia off the block. It comes over. Oh, Lyman LaCroix. Little soccer move there as he heads one over.
Well, the great thing there for Lyman LaCroix, the smallest blocker on the both team. He doesn't get many blocks. But the kid from Kauai goes right up there, gets him in the face, right there, pops straight up. He goes up and fakes a swing at it, but the ball was already going over the net. Lyman gets the stuff, and look at him squinch his nose right there. He got a shot, let me tell you. That's no way to block a volleyball, but he'll take it. Gives the Bows their 6th point of the night.
Whitcomb on the floor there looking up. Like, did that really go over the net? And with that, Hawaii takes their own momentum away as Lockwood serves it out. It's 0-6. This is Scher back to serve. That is not a very sure serve as he puts it out.
It sure wasn't.
It's hard to believe. Garcia.
Oh, the Bows got a lucky break there. The friendly confines of Plum Gymnasium lending a light to the play.
Yeah.
As the Bruins bump it into the Clum light.
But I always get concerned with any structural thing and Clum gets hit by a ball, including the floor. 7-0 Hawaii. Scher tips it over. Pancake by Hawaii. Good pass that time. And a big kill. Oh!
Bruins are reeling right now, and the Bows are absolutely on fire. Pancake dig, watch this pancake, spatula right there by Damian Hardy. Brad Stewart, the young freshman with a fine outside set, and Briseño from Huntington Beach, bearing against his own Southern California buddies.
That's a great pass by Stewart, not used to setting that way, and he really put it in good position. And I'll tell you, Chris, Alan Rosell and I were talking, it's a shame that one of these teams from the division that Hawaii is in is going to have to stay home from the playoffs this year. When you consider...
They got to fix the format, John. There's no doubt about it.
Well, they tried to split it evenly, but in the DeGroote division, in case you're wondering, Cal State Northridge at 7-8 is going to make the playoffs, and Hawaii may not make it at 12-4. That's a crime.
How about Santa Barbara making it at 5-10? Everything going Hawaii's way here in game number 4. 9-zip. There's a little roll shot that time. Just going over and down.
I mean, Whitcomb trying to come from the back, maybe a little bit tired, but nobody was close to getting that ball. And it is 9-0 Rainbows.
How about these statistics from our all-WIVA statistician, Alan Lau? Adam Lockwood hitting .636, Lyman LaCroix 500, Carlos Briseño 413.
And with that, Al Skates calls timeout. The crowd yelling Rainbows, and we'll be back from Clum after this. Al Skates using his second and final timeout, and the side echoes back to Trevor Sherman in UCLA.
Well, John, for the folks at home, let me tell you, this guy's been down 9-0 other times in his life, and he is the kind of the guy who will not give up. This Bruin team will not give up. 9-0 is not a safe lead against this Bruin team.
Of course, you'd rather be up 9-0 than down 9-0, and now it is 1-9 as UCLA is on the board. But Chris, you bring out a good point. They're not number 2 in a 13-time national championship team, because Al Skates says, okay, guys, let's pack it in.
And guess who just walked in the gym? Alan Allen. Just came back in the gym. It's like a ghost out of the past, returning from the national team. He's been traveling all over the world. He just went to sit down on the Rainbow bench. He's at the far end of the bench now. I'm sure we'll get a shot of him soon, but he is a legend in this gym. One of the great all-time volleyball players ever to come out of Hawaii, playing with the United States national team. I get postcards from him from all over the world, and he is having a great, great time. The national team coaches love him, as did the Hawaii coaches. He's friendly, outgoing, he's fun, and just a tremendous athlete.
Lyman LaCroix serves it into the net, touches his chest and says, my fault. Was going to blame McLaughlin, but takes the blame himself. Back to serve Garcia.
Set up by Hawaii. Hawaii needs to thwart this UCLA effort.
Oh, Lyman LaCroix exploiting the new player into the game. Scott Herdman hasn't played all night, number 18 right there. He stayed in the middle. Neither he nor Tedson got to the outside. Briseno was 1-on-0.
There's an ace serve as Tedson.
Oh, there's the double-figure point. There's the double-figure point we talked about. Getting to double figures first. Skates now going for another substitute, bringing Henkel into the game.
Henkel didn't play at all in game 3. Tedson came in, did a heck of a job, and now he comes out. Henkel comes back in, but Whitcomb sat down during that timeout and looked like he wanted to stay in the game, and he is sitting down on the end of the bench.
John, let me tell you something about the Bruin team here. Al Skates may be looking like he's throwing in the towel, subbing all these players, but guess what? He may be getting a stronger lineup into the game every time he substitutes. Every player in this team is strong. They have quite a battle every year for starting spots, and Bland and Sherman are the only two guys that have really started and played every game.
And Bland has not played at all in games 3 or 4 here tonight. Hawaii thought it was carried over the net that time. 4 Rainbows asking Ralph Smith about it, and he says no.
Bows would love a call right now, just to get into the 11th point. Every point is precious from here out. They can taste postseason play with just 5 more points, but unfortunately they're going up against a team that does not like to lose.
And also, unfortunately, the destiny not in the Rainbows' hands. They have to hope for a Stanford loss, especially tomorrow night, the best opportunity for it. Stanford and USC.
Oh, Henkel coming in cold off the bench, took a very weak swing, very tentative that time. And in his defense, it was not a good set, but that did not bode well for Henkel's future play in this game. If he does another one of those, I think Skates will get somebody else in to play for him. But again, we must say that in the Bruins' defense, that they do not have to win tonight. This is not a big game for them.
What the Bruins might be thinking, of course, if they win tonight, they know Hawaii's out of it. Basically out of it. And if that means a lot to them, they're going to have to come back very strong now. Blocked up front. Herdsman, who just came in. Partial block, but a big net violation. A couple of Rainbows taking pieces of the net with him that time. Damian Hardy raising his hand like a foul was called on him in basketball, saying, yeah, it was me. So 110, and back to serve Scott Herdman. Lockwood is blocked up front, but it lands out. We'll give the kill to Adam Lockwood. And for Hawaii, for Brian Papinga is going to be Pancho Maluo. So one senior replaces another. Chris, what you basically got in the lineup for Hawaii is all seniors other than Brad Stewart. So you're seeing the present of Hawaii volleyball, not much of the future out there for the Rainbows this season, with all seniors playing most of the season.
Crucial error by Pancho Maluo there. Luckily, he's got a 10-1 lead, but the pressure really now is on the Bruins, not the Bows. And when the Bows serve out like that, they're just giving UCLA an advantage, easy side out. So they've got to serve in, keep the pressure on the Bruins.
That's just pure concentration, and there's some concentration. Briseno.
After a slow start, Briseno has really come on strong. I don't think I've ever seen him play quite so well. He's now got 32 kills. He's gone from among the worst I've ever seen him play to among the best.
All hit long that time.
Rich Bland that time, not warmed up. Again, he's coming in a little bit cold, and Coach Skates got to be thinking, oh, we don't need to win this, but I got my best guys in there now. Maybe we can pull it out.
11-1. Outside, Garcia off the net. Malua with the save. Lyman LaCroix with a spread eagle dig, and it lands out.
Oh, what a set by Lyman LaCroix.
Looked like Spider-Man.
Pancho Malua popped up a ball that was spinning very, very hard. LaCroix had to leap into the back row, turn while he was in the air. Set to the outside, but Sherman really got a good hand on, but just barely got blocked out.
Lyman LaCroix, I swear, looked like Spider-Man with that spread eagle as he kind of jumped up and landed on all 4.
Well, again, John, this just shows the way the Bows are dominating this very good Bruin team, that the Bows are as good as any team in the country. To have them not be in the postseason playoff is really, really very unfortunate.
Well, the stuffing has been taken out of the Bruins. They're making a lot of unforced errors. And Chris, when Hawaii plays well, that's one thing, but the Bruins not very happy now, hitting balls out, hitting balls into the net. Very uncharacteristic. They're down 13-1. They are literally getting blown out here like they haven't been blown out all year.
Garcia just pulled the net down. Damian Hart is asking, why don't you give those guys a yellow card like you gave us? So that's what the controversy was about there. Another dig by Hawaii. They're playing great defense.
Best defensive team in the country. Off the dig that time and over and under the net. That time through the net, and everything else is
excellent dig by Brad Stewart, but look, it was just dug a little bit too close to the net, and Lacroix set Bersenio right on.
Serve put over by the Bruins. Off the block in the back row, Herdman. Up front, behind the foot line, and ball lands out. So Rich Bland has come into the game after sitting out for a game and a half. And has been relatively ineffective late here in game.
They had a shot of Damian Hardy right there. Look at him right there. He is just fierce, a fierce competitor. He yelled at Barry Mangawai. He said, Barry, we need 2 points. You get him. I'll go sit down. You get him. Here's a great serve by Mangawai. Excellent pass by Henkel.
Sherman, good athletic ability. Didn't know where the set was, but puts it over.
Mangawai not only had a great serve that time, he had a great pass to Lyman Lacroix. Right on the net, and Lacroix got the dump. And look at this, Jim erupt for the match point. Unbelievable. 2,000 wild, screaming fans as Henkel ties his shoe, and Shaw is not happy about that.
14-1. Do you believe it? Hawaii coming back after a tough game 3, trying to keep their hopes alive. Let's let the crowd carry us out. Mangawai obviously is a suspenseful type player. Wants to keep things right here. UCLA player ties his shoe and Mangawai serves it out. So the crowd will sit back down for the moment. Trevor Sherman back to serve. It's great. The young fans in here holding their ears. They can't believe how loud this is. Brad Stewart partially blocked, but there's Lockwood with the dig. Lacroix outside. Bersenio goes long. 2-14.
I hate to say it, John, but no lead is safe against the Bruin team. I don't care if it's 14-2, and everybody here thinks it's over, but I'm telling you, the Bows better not count their chickens before they hatch. This is a very good Bruin team.
Garcia right down inside. 3-14.
Watch for Alan Rosehill to call an early timeout and not let the Bruins get too much momentum.
Rosehill just looked up to see what the score was. Lockwood, Lacroix, Stewart.
Here comes Brian Popinga into the game, and here goes the fans erupting, and Sherman in the back row for the Bruins.
Pancho Maluo coming out. Popinga back in up front for Hawaii. The crowd waving and chanting. Lyman Lacroix smiling. He would love to end it with a big serve here. All set up front. Hanneman.
Although the Rainbow Men ended their season with an overall record of 18-9 and a 5th-place finish in the National Tachikara poll, it wasn't good enough for a postseason berth. Hawaii missed the playoffs for the first time since 1987, but they'll always remember the night of April 12th when they defeated defending national champ, #2 ranked UCLA. They'll never forget the crowd, possibly the largest and loudest crowd ever at Clum Gym to see a men's volleyball match, and they'll never forget the feeling they experienced after that incredible 4-set win.
Oh, that was the best crowd I think I've ever been at. The Broses were great. They came in, I think there was like 100 of them. Half of them were my good friends. And, I could hear through the loud scream of just the crowd. I could hear them saying stuff to the other team. I could see the other team being distracted. It was, it was a great way to end my last year having them there at that home game and winning it.
It was a big win for us. It felt like we won like a championship or something because the crowd, was so loud and everything.
The crowd helped us a whole lot because they just pump you up, You're out there playing and all your fears are wiped away once you do something good or something, really spectacular and the crowd goes crazy. So you're just all fired up.
The win against UCLA was good in many ways, but the key was when you beat a team 15-3 in the 4th, and that's our put-away game, that's their salvation game, and they weren't competitive. And we had a convincing win that night against a very highly touted program.
Overall, I got to thank the crowd for the whole year. They made it fun. I'm just sorry that, you know, we didn't make the playoffs and gotten the post-playoff stuff. But, you know, I'd say they played a very important factor. We got the Bozos down there. They played a great role. And they just made the whole team gel for that final game.
Well, that'll do it for Rainbow Celebration tonight. Now, next Friday night, in our final edition of Rainbow Celebration 1990, we'll feature an exciting game from the baseball team. So be sure to be with us. Good night, everybody.